The bridge of the Zephyrian command vessel Eternal Dominance fell silent as the proximity alarms pierced through the battle's chaos. Commander Vexthor's four eyes widened in disbelief at the tactical display, his scaled hands trembling as he processed the impossible readings. "Sir," his communications officer stammered, "we're receiving a broadcast on all frequencies. It's in the human dialect." The entire bridge crew turned their attention to the main screen as a grainy transmission flickered to life. A young human female with auburn hair and determined green eyes stared back at them, her uniform bearing insignia they didn't recognize. "This is Captain Emma Rodriguez of the Earth Defense Force vessel Indomitable," she announced, her voice cutting through the static. "All hostile forces have 30 seconds to cease fire and withdraw from this sector immediately." Vexthor's mandibles clicked in amusement. A single human ship? Have they lost their minds? He gestured to his tactical officer. "Show me their vessel." The screen shifted to display a sleek, angular ship emerging from the nebula's edge. Compared to the massive Zephyrian dreadnoughts and the crystalline Etherian battlecruisers, the human vessel appeared almost quaint, barely a kilometer in length, its hull a matte black that seemed to absorb light itself. "Sir, the ship's energy signatures are unusual," reported the sensor operator, his voice uncertain. "I'm reading multiple fusion cores, but there's something else. Something I can't identify." Meanwhile, aboard the Indomitable, Lieutenant Commander Jackson Hayes monitored the tactical situation from his position at the weapons console. The veteran officer's weathered face showed no emotion as he tracked the positions of over 200 enemy vessels engaged in their eternal war. "Emma," he said quietly, using the informal address they'd adopted during their long partnership, "we've got Zephyrian heavy cruisers moving to flank us. Etherian forces are maintaining position, but their weapon systems are charging." Captain Rodriguez nodded, her fingers dancing across the command interface. "Time's up. Jackson, bring us to battle stations. Let's show them why humans don't back down." The Indomitable surged forward with impossible acceleration, its hull shimmering as defensive shields activated. But these weren't the energy barriers used by other species. This was something entirely different. The ship seemed to phase in and out of reality, becoming translucent one moment, solid the next. "What in the void are they doing?" Vexthor snarled, his confusion mounting as his weapons officer reported that their targeting systems couldn't maintain a lock on the human vessel. The first Zephyrian volley erupted across space, plasma bolts that could vaporize a moon streaking toward the Indomitable. But instead of impact, the weapons passed through the ship as if it were a ghost. A moment later, the human vessel solidified and returned fire. What emerged from the Indomitable's weapon arrays wasn't energy or projectiles, but something far more terrifying: controlled singularities. Micro black holes that twisted space-time itself, pulling 3 Zephyrian destroyers into crushing oblivion before dissipating harmlessly. Jackson's hands moved with practiced precision across his console. Phase drive holding steady, gravitational lance arrays at full charge. "Good," Emma replied, her voice calm despite the chaos erupting around them. "Target their command ship. Let's end this quickly." The Etherian forces, recognizing the shift in battle dynamics, began their withdrawal. Their hive-mind communication allowed for instantaneous tactical decisions, and they had calculated that discretion was the better part of valor when facing this unknown human technology. But the Zephyrians, proud and stubborn, refused to retreat. Vexthor ordered his remaining fleet to converge on the human ship, determined to overwhelm it through sheer numbers. "Sir," Jackson reported, "they're clustering formation. Perfect target for the Nova cannon." Emma shook her head. "Too many civilian populations in nearby systems. We don't want the shockwave to reach them." She studied the tactical display, her mind working through possibilities. "Jackson, remember the Kepler Gambit?" A rare smile crossed the lieutenant commander's face. "Always wanted to try that in actual combat." The Indomitable suddenly accelerated toward the center of the enemy formation, phasing through their defensive fire. But instead of attacking, it began to spin, slowly at first, then with increasing velocity. As it spun, the ship's phase drive created an expanding field of distorted spacetime. Every enemy vessel caught within the field found their weapon systems malfunctioning, their shields failing, their navigation computers scrambling, as the very fabric of reality became unreliable around them. Ships began drifting helplessly, their crews unable to distinguish between up and down, forward and backward. "Attention all vessels," Emma broadcast on all frequencies. "This is your final warning. Withdraw immediately, or we will be forced to take more aggressive action." Commander Vexthor stared at his tactical display in defeat. Half his fleet was disabled, the other half trapped in the human's bizarre spatial distortion. His pride warred with his survival instincts, but ultimately survival won. "All ships," he croaked into his communicator, "withdraw from the sector. Full retreat." As the alien fleets limped away from the battleground, the Indomitable slowly ceased its rotation, allowing space-time to return to normal. The disabled ships found their systems coming back online, their crews grateful to be alive. Jackson leaned back in his chair, allowing himself a moment of satisfaction. "Another successful diplomatic mission." Emma laughed, the tension finally leaving her shoulders. "Command is going to have questions about our ammunition expenditure. 3 micro-singularities and some creative use of our phase drive," Jackson replied with a shrug. "Hardly broke the bank." As the human warship turned toward the jump point that would take them home, alien sensors throughout the sector recorded a simple message broadcast on all frequencies. "Earth Defense Force vessel, Indomitable departing war zone. Sector secured. Have a pleasant day." In the aftermath, both the Zephyrian Empire and the Etherian Collective found themselves asking the same question. If one human ship could end a conflict that had raged for decades in a matter of minutes, what would happen if humanity ever decided to join a war instead of simply ending it? The answer, they both agreed, was something they never wanted to discover.